Check out this comment I just got on one of my YouTube videos. You only catch fish because you use really expensive gear. DPs, whoever he is. Well, that's not on, is it? So I've decided to set myself a challenge. I'm going to get the cheapest combo I possibly can. I'm going to go down the beach and I'm going to prove DPs wrong. Now, when I thought of this challenge, I thought, what would be a sensible budget? What is a beginner budget for a complete fishing setup? I thought 200 quid. That should get me fishing with some pretty decent gear. And then I thought, that's a little bit too easy. I can get some really nice gear for that. So I thought, let's drop it right down to 100 quid for a rod and reel. That's a good challenge, right? Then I thought, nah, let's make it even harder again. So I set myself a budget of £100 for rod, reel, line, leader, rig, weight, bait, tackle, everything you need. Everything you need so I can walk out of this shop, down the beach and catch fish. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is my rod and reel of choice. This is one of our 12-foot beach caster combos. It's an absolute beauty. It's a 12-foot, 4 to 6 ounce beach caster with an 8,000 size reel, and I'm going to prove that I can catch fish on something this cheap. So that setup comes in at 50 quid, which leaves me with loads of money to buy bits and bobs. Now the first thing I'm going to do, and this is one of the biggest tips I can give anybody with any kind of beginner combo, is I'm going to change the line that comes on the reel. Normally these budget combos come with pretty terrible line already spooled up. So the best thing you can do is treat yourself to a spooler line. Doesn't have to be anything majorly expensive. I've gone with some Asso line in a 0.30. This is 5 quid for a great big bulk spool. Cheap as chips, but that is going to be so much better than what's already on there. So 0.30 main line, I've got some 0.30 tapered leaders to go with that. So that's my line done. On the end of my tapered leaders, a simple medium quick link. And then the rig wise, I'm going to tie a really, really simple earth rig, which will tie a rig in a minute once I've gone through everything we're buying. So for the rig, we're going to need a packet of earths, a spool of line, and a packet of hooks. We want to stick a lead on the end. I've got 2 leads. Never go fishing with just one. You might lose one. So that's the rod, the rig, and the weights ready to go. Now on the hook, we're going to want some bait. So I've got myself a packet of sprats and a packet of squid. These 2 things together cost less than £5, and I'm going to prove you can go catch some fish with a really cheap bait setup. To make life a little bit easier when you're baiting up, some baiting tools, some scissors, a 2-prong bait tool, and some bait elastic. And I think that is everything we need to go and catch some fish. So all of this stuff came together at £98, so I actually came under budget. Pretty proud of that. Let's take a look at the rig. Now, the reason why I've gone with an earth rig is because I'd love you guys to tie your own rigs. It would be very, very easy of me to have gone over to the wall and pick some ready tied rigs. But let's just step it up a little bit, shall we? And I'm going to show you the easiest possible way of tying a rig that is going to catch you some fish. First things first, get yourself an earth out of the packet. Get yourself a spool of line. I've gone with the Berkeley Flex Mono in 0.50mm. Brilliant monofilament, dirt cheap. Love that. And on the end of the line, we're going to stick a hook, which is the Kamzan B950U in a size 1. It's a brilliant all-round hook, this. This time of year, it'll handle the pouting and the whiting and the smaller fish like that, but it's plenty strong enough for the rays and the dogs and the congers too. It's a great universal all-round hook. Right, simple, simple. Get your earth bar. It's got this little swivel in the middle of our bar here. Tie on your line. I'm just going to use a simple 4-turn half-blood knot. Measure out 1 metre of line and tie on our hook using that same knot. You can use whichever knot you like, to be fair. That is that. Honestly, that is the rig done. Earth bar, length of line, hook. Simple as. On the earth bar, when we're down on the beach, we will be attaching our weight. Like so. And then the clip that's on the end of our shock leader will attach to there. And that is that. That is the easiest thing you will ever tie. There's no reason why you guys can't do this. And that is probably better than most of the ready tied rigs I sell. That's a controversial comment, isn't it? I decided to pop down Southbourne for this challenge. I could have chickened out. I could have gone to Steamer Point, where I know I'm going to catch pouting and whiting. It's a bit of a banker venue, that. But I decided to go for Southbourne because A, I love it, you know that, but B, there's always that chance of rays down there. I'd love to see me hook up to a ray with that rod. That could be a lot of fun. Right, Rod's ready, rigs are tied, got me bait, let's go fishing. Well, here I am on the beach with my budget gear. Before I get started, I have made 2 minor omissions to the list of stuff I bought in that lovely shop from that incredibly attractive man. First omission, I forgot something to put my rod on. So I quickly grabbed a sand spike on the way out of the shop. So a sand spike or a tripod or something needs to go on the list, doesn't it? So that's going to completely blow the budget. The other thing was this thing on my head here. Obviously, if you were fishing at night, you're going to probably want to be able to see what you're doing. So yeah, so I forgot already something to put your rod on and a headlight. Other than that, I think we're good. I think we're good to go. I am going to start with my lovely earth rig that we tied in the shop. So here's my lead that I purchased, and here's the earth rig that we tied. I'm just going to start with a little strip of squid. Starting with this whilst my sprats defrost. Super simple way of hooking squid. Cut it into a sort of long, thin little strip, and just hook it once, turn the hook, hook it again, turn the hook, hook it again, turn the hook, hook it again. Sort of just weaving it onto the hook, like so. Like that. Might not look very professional, but it's actually quite a good way of hooking squid. So I've threaded the line through my beautiful new rod. I've got the clip on the end of my shock leader. I'm just going to clip on my earth. And that's it, we're ready to go. We're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a bit nervous about this rod. Casting this could be, I don't know, a bit of an eye-opener for me. First time I've cast a rod like this for many, many a decade. Not that I'm that old, can't be many a decade because I'm only 27. I think the best thing I did was change the line. If I could give anything, any top tip from this whole video for you guys out there, is if you're buying a relatively cheap reel, preloaded with line, strip it off, put some better quality line on. Don't forget, this was only a £5, this main line. £8 for a few leaders, which you're going to need anyway, and that's going to make the biggest difference out of anything I'll have done today. Right, see how this bad boy casts. Oh my word. Well, I mean, there's a lot of horrifying creaking sounding, and it sort of flexed in between my hands, which I wasn't braced for. I should have expected, but wasn't braced for. You know, the overall experience was mildly horrifying, but it went out there. It actually went out. I don't know if you heard it. Whoosh, it flew. Definitely got enough distance on that to catch fish, anyway. Which is the whole point. That's the main thing. Right, put it on my sand spike. Put it at a bit of an angle, and we shall see what comes along. The time is 6:43, so 6:45. I'll give it till 7 o'clock, we'll give it 1/4 of an hour on the first cast, and then we'll reel it in and see if there's anything on there. I don't know if I'll pick up little pouty rattles. It's quite a thick tip, although it's not a stiff tip. It's, you know, it's a glass fibre, so it's a floppy rod, but if I do get really lucky and hook into a ray, hopefully that'll bend over. We might see some action. I need to make sure I adjust my expectations tonight. I need to think like a beginner angler. So if I catch a whiting, that's going to be good. If I catch a pouting, that's going to be obviously even better. Oh, that wasn't a bite, I kicked the rod. One of the weird things about fishing is the more you fish, the higher your expectations become. And then you start to become disappointed when you catch certain species, which is terrible. I mean, I do it myself, but you see it all over social media as well. Oh, I went fishing and all I had was 2 dogs, 6 whiting and a couple of pout. And you think, well, just change that. You know, I went fishing and I caught fish. That's what you go fishing for. It's lovely to catch the fish that you really want, whether it's a cod, whether it's a bass, whether it's a ray. But I'd much rather catch those pest fish than nothing, right? So tonight I'm going to be super happy with everything I catch. Where are we? Right, 6:52. I'm actually excited. I want to bring it in. I want to know what reeling in a fish on this rod's going to be like. Oh, bit of a pull down. Bit of a pull down there. Did anybody see that? Something else I made a bit of a boober one. The tip lights that I normally use on my other rods to show up the tips on the camera are nowhere near big enough to fit on that rod. I'm actually quite convinced I did actually have a bite. I am quite convinced. It's 6:54 and I'm going to bring it in. There's possibly my inner child, the excitement in me getting the better of me, but yeah, I'm going to bring it in. You never know, do you? You know, I've got all night, so if I mess up the first cast, it doesn't matter. Right, let's see if we can... Oh my word. Oh, it's either a fish on or reeling in 5 ounces is ridiculously difficult. Blimey. Okay. I'm convinced it's a fish. I'm going to go and get this. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Oh, MG. Oh. I did it. I have done it. I have done it. On my combo, I actually got a ray. I thought the first few fish might be whiting or pouting or something. Oh, I know it's a small one, but all this gear's cost me less than 100 quid. Not the £2,000 I normally go fishing with. Look at that. That is a small-eyed ray caught on that little tiny strip of squid, flopped it out. To be honest, I have absolutely no idea. I couldn't judge how far that went at all. But it flopped it out into the sea, and I caught a ray first cast. I'm just made up with that. Right, I'm selling all my gear, all my ferrets. They're going 20 quid the lot. Who wants them? Oh. Are we picking up on this? Are we seeing the tip? Real good. Bang down, strong pull down there. What's the time? That's 7:10, so that one's been out there for nearly quarter of an hour anyway now. Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. Right, top tip. So if you are a beginner watching this video, I saw a bite. What I didn't do was grab the rod and strike. We don't do that in beach fishing, okay? So forget that, get that out of your system. Don't strike. That fish should be setting itself. If the rig and the weight and everything is correct, then the fish will set itself. In theory, as long as the hook and the bait presentation is okay, that grip lead especially will set that hook and it'll be on there. I'm normally fish sort of 3-hook rigs, sort of 3-hook flappers and so that, but I'm leaving it out there thinking I might get a second. I've only got one hook out there. So. Well done, Thomas. Right, let's see what we got. Yes! That does feel like another one. Ooh, blimey. Ooh. Okay, it feels bigger than the last one. Surely not. 2 rays in 2 casts. Hang on. Come on. It is 2 and 2. It is 2 and 2. What do we have? Another small-eyed, I guess. Yet another small-eyed. Small-eyeds are sort of classic, sort of light, pale, sandy colour with these ever so slight white mottling and spots. 2 rays in 2 casts on my new favourite combo, my budget outfit. That is an amazing start to this video. Okay, I'm actually quite impressed with how far a cheap setup will cast. I'm going to stress again, I'm pretty sure most of that is down to the fact that I changed the line. If you're using thick, really coily line, you might even be quite an experienced angler actually. If you're using line, I would say thicker than 0.30mm on your fixed spools, you're doing it wrong. There you go, I'm just going to say it, you're doing it wrong. I might get some criticism for that from people who go, well, I've always used this, that and the other, but trust me, watch all my videos, all the places I fish and all the fish I catch, I don't use anything thicker than 0.30. In fact, most of the time, I'm on 0.25 to 0.28. That makes fishing so much easier, makes casting easier, cuts through the wind better, cuts through the tide better. In fact, everything is better. Well, the session's going bizarrely well so far. Didn't quite expect that start. Let's have a quick look, shall we? I've got my second rig that we tied up here. Let's have a quick look at the sprat. And this is one of my favourite baits, and they're cheap. So bear in mind that pack of squid and the pack of sprats cost less than £5. So everything we do tonight, bait-wise, less than £5. First things first, get your sprat. Get Mr. Spratus. I'm going to pair of scissors. Oh, the pair of scissors that we bought. That was all in the budget, wasn't it? Chop the little wispy bit of tail off and chop just behind the head. And now chop it in half lengthways. And what we're left with is a couple of sort of thin little bits of sprat there, okay? Grab that little 2-prong bait tool that we also bought, all part of the budget, and just sort of spear that bit of sprat onto the tool, like so. Grab yourself a little thin strip of squid. So I'm going to just cut a little strip of this squid off. Like so, so about the same length as our bit of sprat, okay? Get our hook, lay the hook, and it's not very easy to see in the dark, but go with me guys, bear with me. Lay the hook alongside the sprat, on the tool there, get your squid and lay that alongside as well. So we've kind of got a sprat, hook and line and squid sandwich going on the tool. Grab our posh bait elastic that we bought and just start gently whipping up. Now when you're whipping up with bait elastic, don't pull too tight, don't really pull it tight so that you're cutting into the bait. Just gently round and round and round and round and round. Lots of nice little neat coils all the way down. Try and go as like little neat coils, don't go up and down, up and down, up and down like that as well, because that'll sort of bend the bait. All the way down to the end. Once we're at the end, I'm then going to repeat the process. Just gently whipping all the way back up. Like that. And once we got to the end again, just a couple of quick turns and pull it tight. When you're using this particular tool that we purchased today, hold it in the palm of your hand like that and let the elastic sort of go between your thumb and finger. Thumb and finger, easy for you to say. And sort of controlling it with thumb and finger. I really can't say that, can I? And when you're finished, pinch it and snap it, and then you'll always have the end hanging out. Ready for next time. So once we've done that, just grab hold of the bait and just gently pull out the little 2-prong tool. And there we go. There was our sprat and squid cocktail. That's going to catch us an enormous ray. Or whiting. Or pouter. Or anything. Hopefully. One of the most important things with any fishing really is matching your bait size to the hook, okay? People always ask me, what hook do I need to catch a bass, or what hook do I need to catch a ray? The proper question is, what bait do I need to catch a bass, or what bait do I need to catch a ray? And then you match the hook to the bait. So you don't match the hook to the fish, you match the bait to the fish and the hook to the fish. Hook to the bait. Oh, made a mess of that, didn't I? Shall I say that again? So pick a bait to catch a fish with. You can ask us in the shop. That's the most easy thing to do. And then we're going to match the hook size to the bait we're using. Okay. You always want to make sure you've got plenty of hook exposed. I don't know how well we can see that in the dark. If I've got a massive, great big, huge chunk of bait on there on a relatively small hook, what can happen is the fish can pick that up, chew on that bait, not get the pointed hook in its mouth, spit it out and move off, and you've missed a bite. So make sure it's always hook exposed on your bait. Right, I'm going to give that one another few minutes. What is the time? Oh, it's 7:30 already. I'll give it a couple more minutes. I don't think I've had a bite, unless I had a bite whilst I was talking to you guys. I don't know. I'll give a couple more minutes, and then we'll bring it in, and then we'll get the sprat out there and see what that comes up with. Oh, I might have lied. Don't know if that was a little bit of surf or whether that was a fish again. Can we see that on camera? It's a funny thing with filming, especially at night. Bites, what I'm seeing in real life, good bites. Every time I edit the video, I'm like, I can't see anything. The rod tip doesn't seem to move. So, do you know what? Let's bring it in. Let's bring it in anyway. It's had enough time out there. So another top tip for any newbies watching this: don't leave your baits out there forever. Don't leave your baits out there until you think you've seen a bite. Okay? Work to the watch. I'm working on 15 minutes at the moment. I can quite easily go to 20 minutes. That's not a problem. 20 minutes is probably a good starting time for most fishing. So chuck it out there, and if in 20 minutes time you haven't seen a bite, bring it in anyway. Okay? Couple of reasons, probably 3 reasons actually. Firstly, you might actually have a fish on, you just missed the bite. Secondly, crabs might have eaten your bait, so after 20 minutes you might be fishing for another half an hour, empty hook, that's pointless. And thirdly, it's just a good excuse to get fresh bait out, fresh scent out there all the time. The more effort you put in, the more rewards you will get. The guy who comes down here, or the person, sorry, who comes down here, casts out and sits on a bait for 2 hours, you're just not going to catch as many fish as the person who reels in, freshens up the bait every 20 minutes. Effort equals reward. Right, let's see if we have a reward, shall we, for our efforts. Our efforts. Oh, no. It doesn't feel like I got a reward on this one. I keep wanting to criticise the rod. I keep wanting to say, oh, it's all horrible and floppy and the reel's noisy and crunchy. I'm comparing a £1,000 combo to a 50 quid combo. I just need to remember that. Don't be critical of it. I shouldn't be critical of it either, should I? It's caught me 2 rays. Would I have caught more than 2 rays on my first 2 casts on my expensive gear? Probably not. Well, actually, if I was using a single hook rig, no, it's impossible. I couldn't have caught any more fish. Nothing. Diddly. Let's get this one out there. So what I'm doing here, you may have noticed, is I have my spare rig already baited up. So I reel in, I unclip my old rig, put it down, pick up my new one with a fresh bait on, clip it straight on and cast out. Why do I do that? Well, that's something from my match fishing days, we call it double patting. The idea is pretty simple, it's just maximising the amount of times you're actually fishing, okay? Let's say I'm down here for 3 hours. Now, from the minute I pick that up, my rod up, and start reeling, I'm not fishing, okay? I'm not fishing until my bait is back in the water and settled down. So if I reel in, and then sit down, and then spend 10 minutes baiting, and then cast out, then that's, you know, with reeling in time, sort of 11, 12 minutes of fishing that I'm not doing. So I multiply that for every cast I do throughout my session. Then in my 3 hour session I'm fishing, I'm probably only fishing for 2 hours. So double patting maximises the amount of time you've got bait in the water. Again, maximum effort, maximum reward. It gives you something to do whilst you're waiting for a bite as well, rather than watching me on YouTube. This is also a good idea. Go. Cast number 4 in the water. The sprat is out there. I'm going to rebait this one. Fingers crossed, we'll find another fish. Oh, holy moly, holy moly, holy moly. What was that? Did we see that? Oh yes. Oh yes, oh yes. Okay, this one's nodding back. You hear the line whistling in the wind. It means it's under some tension. Oh, blimey. I can't believe this. Come on, baby. I'm going to have to go down and land it. Oh, guys, you're not going to believe it. There you go, look. There's my little Wanna Kerf rig. Ooh, right in the corner mouth. There's that little bit of sprat and squid we just baited up. And there is an absolute stonking male smallite. So another smallite. I can tell it's a male because it has these 2 claspers here, look. Almost looks like it has 3 tails, doesn't it? But that's the claspers we call them, or the gonads if you're feeling a little bit frisky. But that is an absolute beauty. Oh, it's going to do its wings folding in trick, make it look really small. But that's an absolute stunner. Shall we weigh it? Seeing as we're on beginner gear, it'd be nice to put a weight on that, wouldn't it? Just to see the biggest fish I've caught on my 50 quid combo. Right, I'm going to put it in a bucket of water and get my scales out. I know the scales weren't in the budget, but we'll allow it, I think. I haven't even cast out my other rig. There's me just preaching about double patting and maximising time in the water. Just a little bit too excited. We are on 0, 0, 0. Wasteling, zeroed off. Get the fish in the sling. And we have got £7.6. Look at that. Oh, turn my light off, sorry. Come on, Amateur Thomas. Can we read that? A £7.6 small-eyed ray on the cheapest combo you can buy. Come on, mate. Let's show you the camera one last time and get you straight back in. We did have a bite just now, but I've left it 20 minutes anyway. So I'm not entirely sure if it came back or whether it came to anything. Could be our first whiting, it just gave a bit of a bong and then not a lot happened, so I left it. Let's have a look. Let's see if it was a fish or not. I don't really know. It's not a ray, it's certainly nowhere near as big as the last fish I caught, but it does feel like something. It's a brand new rod, I'm not used to it, so you know, I haven't got the feel yet. Problem is I'm just used to reeling in enormous fish now, aren't I? Everything else is going to pale in comparison. Comparison? Yes, we have fish. We have fish. It looks like a whiting. First whiting of the session, guys. As a gambling man, I would say it's not going to be the last. Woo, look at that. Quite a nice chunky one as well. That is a whiting, ladies and gentlemen. Now, these things are somehow related to the cod family. And surprisingly tasty. So if you're new to fishing and you're fishing for the table, don't moan about catching these things because they're really tasty things, okay? They do need to be a minimum of 27 centimetres if you're going to catch one for dinner. That is comfortably that, and a little bit more. It's not the fattest thing. Normally I'd sort of probably put that back, but this one has been hooked quite deeply and there's a little bit of blood coming out, so it might not survive. So you know what? Fish fingers for dinner tomorrow it is. There we go. Perhaps a disgorger might be worth adding onto the list of things to buy as well. Oh, fish on again. I did just have a cast without a fish. That is another ray. I'm convinced of that. That's pumping back. Right, let me go and land this one. Success again. Success again. Only a little babber one. A little small one like the first one. Was that number 4? Number 4 now? What a little session this is turning out to be. Right, let's get straight back. Oh. I thought I hadn't caught a fish on this cast. It turns out I have. Oh, what is that? A little flatfish. Here we go, a little dab. A little dab to add to the species list. That is a tiny one as well, a little hand-sized dab. Gorgeous little things. I don't know why, but I really love dabs. I really love flatfish in general. They're just really cool, aren't they? But that's a dab. Big boggly eyes and a big D shape on the lateral line. Or C shape, sorry, on the lateral line. That's how you can tell a dab from other flatfish. Right, let's go stick this one back. Well, I've just had a bit of a crazy run of catching whiting, and that's three and three casts in not very many minutes at all. This one liking the little strip of squid. They got quite small. Right, I'm going to call it a night. It is 9:15, so that's given me 2.5 hours of really brisk and entertaining fishing. I've absolutely loved it. Hopefully I've proved that you can catch fish on less expensive gear, or certainly on, well, budget gear, very cheap gear. Couple of key things, hopefully you take away from this. First one was we changed the line, didn't we, on the reel. That's a massive thing, it really is. Don't underestimate the importance of your main line. The second one is the rig I use. Now the Earth rig, I wax lyrical about this thing constantly all the time in all my videos because it's so easy. All you need to do is learn how to tie one knot and you can tie an Earth rig. It's as simple as earth bar, length of line, hook on the end. There's no tricks or whistles to that at all. Tricks and whistles? Bells and whistles. Whatever the saying is. There's none of those things. So super simple. Possibly that is a better rig than most things you'll buy in shops. So a lot of the ready-tied rigs and that sort of thing you buy in the shops, they're okay, they're functional, they'll probably catch the occasional fish. Generally speaking, they're all a little bit too short for me. Very short snoods, that sort of thing. And sometimes the hooks aren't of the best quality. So if you're going to get into tying your own rigs, even if it's as simple as this, then you can choose really good quality hooks, which you know are razor sharp and going to catch you fish. But the one bit of advice I'd like to give to everybody, not just beginners, and this one is important, is use the resources available to you. I can't teach you in one video everything I know about fishing because there's so many variables of sea fishing. You've got to understand seasons and tides and air pressure and wind direction and everything. It's like science, sea fishing is. It's crazy. And even then, just when you think you're starting to understand it all, you get it wrong. You know, I'll blank on plenty of sessions. So the one thing I'd like you to learn is to where to learn or where to gather information from. I'd urge you not to use things like Facebook and, to be honest, not even YouTube, unless you know who's doing it, unless the guy who's presenting, or the girl who's presenting, sorry, shouldn't be so sexist, unless you know them, that's what I'm trying to say, unless you know them, they're a reliable source, because the problem with things like Facebook is you can get people who don't know really what they're doing. They can give advice, you've got no idea who they are, and it might be terrible advice. It might be all the wrong sort of advice. Before you know it, you'll be down Southbourne fishing with a braided mainline and a pulley pennel and a whole squid, and you'll be catching nothing because you've taken the wrong advice. So the most important thing for you guys to do is use your local tackle shop. Wherever it is, wherever you are in the country, go and use your local tackle shop. They will give you the correct advice, they'll give you the up-to-date advice, and they really want you to catch fish. If you catch fish, then you're going to go back again, and they're going to be a happy shopkeeper. Anyway, enough of my waffle. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favour, hit the like and subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it means the world to me. I really enjoyed this session, if I'm honest. I was blown away catching that. Was it first cast? It was the first 2 casts we had raised, wasn't it? I know, we got off to an absolute flyer. We had that cracking £7 something or other ray, didn't we, in between? Far exceeded my expectations. Possibly painted a bit of a rosy picture of fishing. Beach fishing, trust me, is not always this easy. There'll be plenty of times you'll come down here and blank just because the conditions are tough, or for whatever reason the fish aren't feeding. But tonight has been amazing. Really enjoyed it. Super simple gear. Come and give it a go, guys. Loads of fun. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.